teach you to mess with a Chrysler building.
How about it, shiny one?
No, thanks.
Hey, where'd you get those threads? Soho?
Cybertron.
Hey, what's the address?
Cooking up another sleazy scheme, huh, Megatron? Nice recovery. Now let's see how you do in the
And here is a look at Star Toys Masterpiece scaled version of Autobot tracks. So hopefully you saw my part 1, the unboxing and first impressions, because there I already went over the box and all of the accessories. But probably due to fans' toys making their figures, so you have to make some adjustments out of the box. It looks like Star Toys and X-Transbots are doing the same thing. So there are some adjustments that need to be made out of the box. And I did try to cover them at the end of that video. I'm not sure if I covered everything like the back, but I'll point them out again here. So yeah, and I would just want to speak to that video because of some comments I get. I make the video the way I did because I want to be as authentic as I can, so that I'm giving you a full experience of what it's actually like to get a figure, to unbox it, to open it for the first time. So naturally, those kinds of videos, there's going to be little mistakes here and there because yeah, it's the first time you're opening it. But the unfortunate thing with this figure is I didn't anticipate them doing the same thing like fans toys, where you have to make some adjustments out of the box. So that's why, you know, here I thought it was all loose and I thought it didn't have a 90-degree bend. And then here, this was actually nice to find out that they did add this piece so that it's tune accurate. But also the back piece, I don't know why they did this, but this is the correct transformation, where you have the hood of the car like this. And just to let you know, there's a tab at the very tip of the hood that goes into the slot on the back of the vehicle here. And trying to configure it into this position is a little complicated. So maybe that's why they didn't put it like that. But anyways, I just wanted to make all that clear from my unboxing and first impressions. So now we can get into this review, starting off first with the comparison with the animation model. So here you could see they did a really nice job capturing all of the details from the cartoon. So they did a really nice job capturing the cartoon aesthetics. And even from the back view, you could see, now with the correct transformation, you could see it has that nice curve on the back. And also the back of the vehicle is facing back, not up like the official Takata version. And I do like back here, you don't have those flames from the vehicle, so this cleans up really well to capture the cartoon aesthetics. So now let's zoom in and just do all this all over again, but really quick. Here's a close-up look at the nicely sculpted head and just pointing out all the details here. This was a nice touch. They made this to be tune accurate because you could see the other side has all the details from the rim, so that's a nice touch. And I pointed out here, this should be a little bit more rectangular shape, but yeah, it still comes out looking like a square, so I guess that's okay. And then, like I said, I'm very aware of all these details. This looks really nice. They did a really nice job with this figure. And articulation, I already went over all of those things. But this is on a ball joint, and the head can go up all the way. But yeah, this piece came untabbed, and maybe that was good. Just to let you know, these alloy pieces here, they're supposed to tab in here to the back, but they don't tab in very securely. Well, as I say that now it doesn't, but basically this is pretty loose. So yeah, you're gonna have to fiddle with that as you're trying to configure all this. But here I was just trying to show you that the head is on a ball joint, so it can go up all the way. And this head is actually on multiple joints. So you could see there's a joint there. There's a joint from the blue and the gray piece. And then there's another joint here for the transformation, but just pointing those things out. Yeah, I don't want to make it sound like this is negative, but I'm just speaking to people who complain about lack of articulation. There is no butterfly joint, but yeah, that's okay. That doesn't really bother me. But yeah, the arms can go forward and back, out to the side. Lower bicep swivel, you do get a 90-degree elbow bend, you do get fist rotation, the fingers can open up, different type of thumb design here, but it still works really well, X-Transbots. And then you do get the waist rotation, you do get an ab crunch, you get the legs that can go up, but this designs, I don't know how I feel about it, but when you lift it up, you could see when you bring it down, the hip skirts gets caught up there. So easy way, just bring this back down, which is which is part of the transformation, but hold it and then pull this back up, and then you could straighten that up. And then here you could see there is a 90-degree knee bend, and there is no gap here because they did give you this panel piece to cover that up. And then there is articulation, ankle tilt with the feet, and the feet can go up and down. So real quick, like I said, I already went over this on the unboxing first impressions, but I just thought I'd run through that again really quick just to show you that this is a really nice figure. So here's a look at Trax in his robot mode.
Nice recovery. Now let's see how you do in the dark.
Now for some comparisons real quick, here he is next to the original G1. So here you could see the difference between the two. The original G1 has its own style and appeal. Basically, it has a real nostalgic feel to it. So I know there are some collectors out there who like the original G1. But one of the reasons why I'm bringing this out is because I wanted to point things out. Look at the flame here. It has the yellow outline along the red, which is not toon accurate. So that's very typical of the cartoon. The G1 toy doesn't match the cartoon. The cartoon doesn't match the G1 toy. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. And also the G1 toy, you could see here the details, the 3 dots, the rectangle, and then here there's rectangular shapes on the forearm, and then all the details from the sticker decals, such as those 4 little circles on the lower leg. Yeah, those are just typical G1 stuff, and I just wanted to point that out because when we bring out the official Takata version, this is an older masterpiece design. That was before all the trending cartoon aesthetics. So this was when they were still designing this to kind of be like a fusion of the 3. So capturing the cartoon, the G1 toy with a little bit of some realistic details. So here is an example I was telling you. So you could see those 3 dots there, the rectangular shape there, the little rectangle shapes on the upper forearm, which is not toon accurate. And then they sculpted in the little details here, those 4 circles, which is all from the original G1 toy. So yeah, that's my point, is that this was an older design. So here I'm just trying to point out things to know so you understand why there's a difference. This was designed differently. Star Toys is, designed towards the new trending design, cartoon accurate. So here they did a really nice job with it. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Now, for the difference, here I'm just going to let you see, and you could decide for yourself what you think is better, which is a subjective term. Just needs to be understand that you are expressing your thoughts, your opinions on your thoughts and feelings on how what you think and feel about the figure. This is not about using the word better to assert your opinion as if it's a definitive, objective fact, because it's not. Although better can be used objectively depending on the context. But in this context, when we're just talking about all the aesthetics and what you like, what you don't like, this is all subjective. So I'm saying all that to make it clear that when you use those terms, you need to use it correctly with the understanding that better coming from you're basically expressing your opinions, how you feel about it. So I'm not going to say things like better, asserting my opinion that this is definitively, objectively better than this. No, when I say better, and I do think that this looks better than this, I'm expressing my opinions and feelings, and that's based on my personal preference, which is the cartoon aesthetics. So that's why I think this looks better than this. But does this really look better than this objectively? Yeah, that's like a different thing. I don't want to go rambling on and on. Hopefully I made my point clear. But yeah, here you could see the difference between the two. Now, from a design point of view, now this is a little bit objective. It's the way that they designed the figure. And first, I want to point this out. I said it before on my other reviews that my very first project in product design was to design 100 different salt and pepper shakers. And the point of that assignment was to understand that there are many different ways that you could design anything, including these figures. And a perfect example is look at how many Optimus Primes and that we got, and look at how many Star Screams we got. There's so many different ways to design it. That's my point, to kind of defend the Takata. But from a design point of view, the way they chose to design it, there are some issues with it, such as, this hollow gap that most people complain about. But for me, that never really bothered me because I don't really pose my figure like this, so you don't really see it. But I have to admit that, yes, this doesn't look very good. It doesn't clean up very well. So yeah, the complaint on here, I think, is pretty valid. But for me, the complaint was things like this. Like, you see his leg. It looks like the lower leg got pushed in because it doesn't really line up with the upper leg. And so, yeah, I don't think that was designed very well. And then when you look at the feet, you could see like right through it, kind of like the War for Cybertron Kingdom tracks. They did the same thing. So yeah, that kind of bothered me. And then I could be nitpicky. It doesn't have that nice little curve bump here like the Star Toys, which is very tune accurate. But that's really being nitpicky. And of course, all the criticism I make, I always told you, I try to ask the question, why, to understand. And obviously, that's due to the way they engineered the transformation design. But yeah, there are issues here and there. And here, this was another issue that I had. Look at the head. That does not really lock in place, which was a real easy fix. They could have kind of put a hollow cavity in the front and then put a little nub up there, and then you lift it up, it will snap in place. But they didn't do that, or they didn't do anything to secure this. So this head, functionally speaking, form and function is something in product design. This does not work really well. So you can, criticize that. That's not done very well. And then throughout the figure, I could point out a lot of things here and there. Aesthetically, like the wings here are too high because you could see that red stripe is coming out from above the tire. But to be tune accurate, it should be coming out like from the tire. So that's not tune accurate. I'm just being nitpicky. But here also, the back of the vehicle, you could see the rear lights are facing up, not back, so that's not too inaccurate. And like I said, I could point out all these things, critiquing this figure, but in all fairness, this is just the way they designed it, because you have to take into consideration other factors in product design, which the company has control over. How much money can be spent on materials and the building costs, things like that. So obviously that's going to affect some of the design. But ultimately, this is what we ended up getting. And overall, I have to say it's not bad. But I can tell you this, that transforming this is so much easier than transforming this, which seems to be, very common. Just like the Ironhide, the same thing. Ironhide, Masterpiece, Ironhide, but Takata is easy to transform, but the Fans Toys fantastic model is very complicated. And it's always the consequence, because to have this nice clean look, I mean, it requires a lot more parts and a little bit more complicated engineering for the transformation, stuff like that. But the finished product does look better. It's I'm expressing my opinion, what I think. I think it does look better because of that. But anyways, I'm starting to ramble too much. I just wanted to just point out a few things here with the difference between the two. So in terms of form and function, which is basically the articulation, it's pretty much the same standard articulation. I don't need to go over it because there's really nothing special to point out, like butterfly joints or something like that. I gotta quit knocking them over. Yeah, but you can maybe kind of get some weird articulation here. But yeah, I think you get the main point. Articulation, they're pretty much the same standard articulation. And then aesthetically, that's really subjective. It really depends on you. But objectively speaking, which one captures the cartoon aesthetics a little bit more accurately is the Star Toys. So you could see Star Toys definitely capture the cartoon aesthetics a little bit more accurately. Even the back with that curve I was telling you, in the back, facing back, not facing up. So yeah, real quick, instead of rambling on, here's just a comparison between the two.
Listen, we were sent here to monitor Decepticon activity.
I say it has something to do with all this weirdness.
There's a dozen of them and only 3 of us!
Yeah, but we got the pearl! So what?
And to take up some more of your precious time, here is some more comparisons. Let's bring out his buddy here, Blaster. So here you could see what these two look like next to each other. This is the Fans Toys version of a Masterpiece scale Blaster. He is a little bit tall in scale with the Star Toys tracks, but I think it still looks really nice. Just the colors look good, especially when you think of the scenes when these two were in the episode together. So yeah, here's just a look between these two. And for some more comparisons, let's bring out the little Bumblebee. So here, Bumblebee did appear in the episodes a few times with tracks. So these colors actually look really nice together. You have your primary colors, the red, blue, yellow, and I need to stop dropping tracks. But yeah, here you could see these look really nice. And for one last comparison, if you remember that episode where Trax, Blue Streak, and Bumblebee were fighting Menasor together. I forgot the name of that episode, but yeah, here now you could see what all of these look like next to each other. And I'm bringing these all out just to give you a scale of the proportion next to each other. And as you could see, these actually scale really well. They look really, really nice all together. So yeah, I don't need to point out anything more with that. So yeah, here's just some more comparisons. And so now what we can do is transform tracks to his alt mode and take a look at that.
Take me there. Time to go undercover as a stolen car. Hey! What's that?
So, ain't you ever seen a building being built before?
And here is a look at tracks in his alt mode. So here's just a quick look at the figure all around. So now first let's compare this with the animation model. So you could see that they did a nice job sculpting the figure. It's not very tune accurate. You could see that the flame here has the yellow stripe around it, which captures more the G1 toy. And on the top here, it's missing that rectangular yellow shape with the Autobot symbol on it. But yeah, it still looks nice. And the windows, I think I would have liked it if they used the same faux painted windows on the robot mode, because it would capture the cartoon aesthetics for the window a little bit better. But there were some scenes where he did have dark tinted windows. And then when we take a look at the back view, you could see it's not very tune accurate back here. And that's due to the animators that for whatever reason they chose to design it the way they did in the cartoon, instead of here, which is the signature Corvette with the circular rear lights. Did they not know what the Corvette rear lights look like? I don't know why they did that. And also the G1 toy is like that, so I never really understood that. And actually I never really liked the back, because actually my employer when I was in high school, he had a Corvette, so I always saw his Corvette, so I was very familiar with this. So I'm just telling you, I kind of like the circular lights, but they didn't give it to you. But anyways, there's a look compared with the animation model. So now let's zoom in and take a closer look at the details. So here, I don't know if you could see that black area. They did sculpt in a little bit of some vents in there, which is nice. And then here, the front, here, the parting line that a lot of people complain about. I'll just tell you that, you know, when you look at the figure as a whole, up close and in person, you don't really notice it all that much. But if you come and look at it really close and you start staring at it, it will be noticeable. And it is a little distracting because the only parting lines you should see is really like this hood. And then the actual sculpted in lines you should only see for the headlights. But yeah, I'm just acknowledging, you know, that yeah, there is a parting line that goes here that is a little distracting, but I'm telling you, it's not all that bad, especially with the nice blue paint finish. And then when you come to the side, take a close-up look, nicely sculpted rims with some treads on the wheels. They did sculpt in the side view lights here. It's not painted. I don't know what these vents are called, but they did sculpt that in there. And this is interesting. They gave you a keyhole, but they didn't give you a door handle. That's funny. And then here, this is a port for the tab for the wing, but it kind of works as like a, you know, the side rear lights. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. And then the back with the circular rear lights, which I really like. They're nicely painted. And then they did sculpt in area for a license plate, which is really nice. Look at this. It's nicely sculpted. It doesn't have a spoiler, but you know, it's angled up. So yeah, this is a really nicely sculpted and painted figure. And you know, here are all these parting lines. They did a nice job cleaning it up. That's because they didn't really give you like these beveled edges. They kind of put the two parts together so it's close. So you could see the top of my finger. You don't really see a line because they didn't really give you a beveled edge, which gives you more of a line, if that makes sense. But yeah, but still they designed it where it's like a sliding hinge. So you need to slide this out and then you'll see a big gap and then you could safely rotate it. But they chose to design it so it all cleans up really nice. And that's throughout the figure. Even up here, you could see it does clean up, but it does pull out a little bit and then you have a parting line. And then the same thing here. But my point is, you know, all these parts, they did a nice job designing it so it cleans up really nice. So now for some comparisons, here he is next to the original G1. So here you could see the G1 has that yellow outline around the red flame. So that's where these designs come from. They're just capturing the G1 toy. I wish they would have just stuck with capturing their cartoon aesthetics. But yeah, that's where that comes from. But you could see this is still a really nice figure. It's nicely sculpted. And here, see here they sculpted in the circular lights. It's not painted, but I don't know, maybe they have the sticker decals, because I don't like putting the stickers on there, so maybe there is. But you could see it's nicely sculpted. So again, the animators, I don't know why they did that. They took the liberty to make some changes, but I think maybe they just weren't aware of what the Corvette rear should look like. But yeah, here's a look next to the original G1. Has a nice transparent window. And now for the comparison, I know a lot of people would like to see, here he is next to the official Takata Masterpiece tracks. So you could see the difference between the two. Both of these are actually nicely sculpted, nicely painted. So yeah, from just afar, it's kind of hard to notice anything different, but there are differences that, you know, I always point out. So here with the Takata, you could see the way this is an older figure, so it's the older design. So this has kind of like the fusion of the three, trying to capture the G1 cartoon, the G1 toy with some realistic details. So here the flame, they also did the same thing, capturing the G1 toy with that yellow outline. But here they try to capture some of the cartoon. They gave you the chest here is with that yellow rectangular yellow shape with the Autobot symbol. But they did give you the option where you could flip this around to have it a blue top like this. So that was nice. And then some of the realistic details, they did give you the official licensed Chevrolet logo on here on the front and back. So yeah, this there's a lot of nice things about this. And this one, they did give you the transparent window, which is nice, but not when there's all that kibble in there that's exposed. So yeah, I think the Star Toys handled this a little bit better, because here they frosted the transparent window, so it almost looks like tinted windows, which is cool, because I know in some scenes Trax did look like he had dark tinted windows. So there's some differences, but the major difference is the Takata does have some nice features, which is and this is kind of like X-Transbots. They always do the same thing. Here they made it so you can open up the hood, and in here they do have a nicely sculpted engine that's nicely painted. And they also gave you some accessories that come with the figure. So here you can kind of capture or replicate those scenes where Raul was fixing up tracks. So this is actually really cool. This is one of those where those accessories are really nice. And then you could bring out the little miniature blaster that came with this. So this is a really nice set like this. And here I think this is a good way to show explain to you why now I plan to keep the official Takata in alt mode, because here I can, you know, appreciate the nice features and accessories that the Star Toys does not come with. But that's not a bad thing, but I'm just trying to point out the differences between the two. So you do get a little bit more with the Takata version. But as far as the figure goes, in terms of the sculpt, and they both did a really nice job, nicely painted as well. Functionally, they both roll. And now there was something else I wanted to point out with the alt mode, and that's the wings here. You can actually get them, the tabs on the wings, to get into the slots on that faux chest piece. So here I already tabbed it in, but here I'm going to show you by untabbing it and just kind of show you. Trying to get this tab piece to go into that slot is really hard, and you heard that snap, so it came out, and see, I snapped it out again. So here I'm just showing you, what you need to do is you need to push this faux chest piece down all the way. And the first part that's challenging is trying to get this first tab to line up, tab in. And this is where, yeah, like I just said, it's hard to get that tab to line up because it's hard to see. But I got it in. And then, like I always say, give it a good squeeze. And then the second one, you need to do the same thing, and it's just you need to line it up. But here, this is where it gets a little nitpicky. You have to get this aligned perfectly, and that's throughout this figure. And then give this a good squeeze, and because they did a really nice job cleaning everything up, so you don't have these huge parting lines. But as a consequence, trying to get things to tab in, you have to get everything perfectly. So here I just wanted to point out that you can actually get the tabs on the wings in, and you saw how I did that. You have to push that chest piece up all the way, and then you have to get that tab lined up, tabbed in, and then give it a good squeeze, and then do the same to the other side. So that's the last thing I wanted to point out in the alt mode. So now let's transform Trax to his flying alt mode and take a look at that. Okay, to transform Trax from his vehicle mode to his flying alt mode, And here is a look at Star Toys tracks in his flying alt mode. So now let's compare this with the animation model. And you could see that it's not very tune accurate. The flame, you could see, has that yellow outline here. That's not very tune accurate. It's missing that rectangular yellow shape with the Autobot symbol there. But here you could see the forearm on the side of the vehicle. It is blue here, so they did capture that to be tune accurate. And the nice wings that give it with a nice red stripe back there. So it looks nice. And then nobody really looks at the bottom view, but here I just thought I'd show you what the bottom looks like. They did a nice job, and that's mostly due to the fact that it's nicely sculpted. And here now let's just zoom in and take a closer look at all the details. So this is pretty much the same as the alt mode, except now you could see the barrel of the gun right there. And then here, the forearm. And this is a nice little touch. You could see they sculpted in the detail of the forearm, but it's still nicely painted blue to be very tune accurate. Yeah, this is done really well. And here, I want to point out some things. You could see how it's nice and straight. That's because this is properly transformed. And by that, I mean this side door piece, whatever you call it, is supposed to attach in here to the front part of the vehicle. Because if you don't get that hooked in and then locked in place, this piece is going to come bending down, and then it's not going to be all straight. And then also that will make it very difficult for you to tab this forearm piece here, because you could see the tab and the slot. And if it's not tabbed in, when you push it in, it's going in and coming out, going in, coming out. So yeah, this is not going to securely tab in. So the point is, this step in the transformation, you do need to get this securely tabbed in there. And there are little steps here to help make it easier to do that, because you already know this is kind of hard pulling it down. But yeah, yeah, I'll probably show that in the transformation to the alt mode if I do one. But yeah, here you could see what he looks like all around. So it's a really nice alt mode. And now for some comparisons. Here he is next to the original G1, and that wasn't supposed to happen, but I just fired his missile. So here you could see what he looks like. And I laughed because this is typical of the original G1. It never matches the cartoon, and the cartoon never matches the toy. And by that, I mean here, animators, they didn't add this piece in here with the rockets, and they didn't... and they took the liberty to add some tail wings, which looks nice, but that's not on the G1 toy. And also, it's missing the barrel of the gun right here. So, always inconsistency with the G1 and the cartoon. But yeah, here's a look at that next to the G1. And I know the comparison a lot of people want to see. So now we need to come up to get a better view. And here is the Takata version. So let's bring him up so you could see the difference between the two. Both of these actually look really nice. It's just because the sculpt of the vehicle is done really well on both of them. So, and they both clean up really well, and they both have that nice metallic blue paint finish. But there are differences that I always point out. And so one of the difference is the Takata version. You could see the forearm here is gray, when it should be blue to be tune accurate. And I'll just explain this a little bit. You know, this has to do with product design. This is really the company, Takata, you know, how much they're willing to allow the designers to, you know, design the figures, you know, the cost, the materials, the build and stuff like that. Because from a design point of view, there's so many ways that they can design this to cover that up, but they didn't. And so you can thank Takata for that. But overall, I think it still looks nice. It does give like a nice accent and extra colors, which makes it look really nice. And then the other detail here, you could see they did give you the rectangular yellow shape here. But if you see, it swivels, and that's because they gave you the option to flip it around if you wanted to have that nice clean blue top here. So here's a look at the comparison between the Takata version, and here I'm just giving you a look all around so you could decide which one you think looks better, because to me I think both of these look really nice. And then the other difference is Takata gave you this nice display stand that Star Toys didn't. But what's interesting is Star Toys did give you an adapter for a display stand, and this doesn't make sense because if they give you this, why didn't they give you a display stand? And you could see how it connects, and this is not as simple. There's 2 tabs and 2 slots, tab it in, and then yeah, that's reviewers who describe things that way. Because if you look carefully, you see that triangle shape, and that's to fit that contour of the triangle shape here. And then you could see it goes up in for that parting line in between. And so yeah, this is not as simple as just tab it in. You need to also tab in that shape in between there, and you need to do it as carefully as you can, because like throughout this figure, one of the difficulties is, you know, trying to get everything tabbed in because they made everything so perfectly tight. But once you get it in, and make sure you give it a good squeeze, you got it nice and secure. And then you can use the adapter from Takata, and you could just simply tab that in very carefully because there is some weight to this figure. And so maybe you need to just kind of adjust this a little bit so he's not gonna fall down. I don't think I have it at a good angle because the weight's down here. But here, I just wanted to show you and move it around carefully so you could see what this looks like on this nice display stand. Yeah, actually, I don't like it that way. Let's move it up a little bit more. And then here, you just need to reattach that. Here, I'm just gonna do it the lazy way, put it up. So here you could see, yeah, what this looks like. This actually looks nice. The only disappointment is, I think Star Toys should have given us a display stand, because I know producing something like this doesn't cost a lot. But here is a look at Star Toys tracks in his flying alt mode.
You're losing it, man!
I know!
So now let's transform him back to robot mode and have our final thoughts. Okay, now that we have Trax back in robot mode, I could finally end my review and give you my final thoughts on this figure. So after everything I covered with this figure, as best as I can tell you that for me, I really like this figure a lot. Not just because it captures the cartoon aesthetics very well, because that is my preference, but just the shape, the sculpt, the proportion, the standard articulation, which is good enough. This is really done well. And in terms of the engineering, the transformation, it is a little complicated and involved, but it's not to the extent like picking on X-Transbots, like X-Transbots, where it's not just complicated, but the way they designed it, where you have to bend the plastic over plastic, and then you have to do it carefully because of the quality of the plastic, or you might break it. So you don't have those concerns with this figure. So my point is, they're both complicated. It's just this one, you don't have those worries of breakage or anything. It just might be a little frustrating, you know, trying to manipulate these parts, get them tabbed in. But in short, it just takes a little time and patience and time and effort to transform the figure. And when you do, you can really appreciate how well the alt mode looks and even the flying alt mode. So in terms of the engineering of the transformation, I think they did a nice job, especially when I explained it many times. I don't know if I made it clear, the beveled edges. Here, these parting lines, they made them so tight, the beveled edges, where they didn't really make it curved, so that these lines clean up, which helps to give it a really nice clean look. Like also, the chest in here, they did a really nice job. And in terms of form and function, it's basically just your standard articulation, and in alt mode, the wheels, they do roll, and there is no extra features or anything like the hood opening up, or you don't get accessories like the little mini Raul figure with the mini blaster. But yeah, this is a third-party figure, so yeah, you don't really need those things. But they could have given us a display stand that goes with that adapter that they gave you. But yeah, I'm just pointing things out. Yeah, that would have been nice if they did, but they didn't. But all things considered, and the last thing, someone commented, and I agree, I should bring up the price. The price of this figure, I don't remember off the top of my head how much I paid for it, but I'll put it up here. Yeah, but I do know that this is a value. I mean, Star Toys does give us a good value on their figures. Not just the price, but the quality of the figure is really great. So with that said, instead of rambling on and on, that's my final thoughts on this figure. This is a really great figure. And in terms of recommendations, I don't give recommendations, because if you want it, you'll get it. If you don't, you won't. So with that, I'll end my review there and just say this is a really nice figure. I really like it a lot, and it now goes with my masterpiece Autobot collection.
Hey, relax. Some people got the juice and some don't. And we got the juice.